Hey guys, it's Overlord here, back again with another edition of Throwback Thursdays. I believe we're on number 7 now. Crazy how time flies. Got enough to fill up a whole week. For all you after-school cartoon nerds. Either way, today we're taking a look at the Toy Biz Planet of the Symbiotes Venom the Madness. Now, there were a couple Venom lines that Toy Biz put out in the later 90s, I believe after the Spider-Man animated series had come and gone, and this was one of them, loosely based off a comic book series, Lethal Protector, which is where the other symbiotes from the Life Foundation came from. So, you know, Riot and Lasher and Scream, all those. Venom the Madness, I'm not sure which comic series he came from, if there was a actual Planet of the Symbiotes comic. Don't quote me on that, but that could have been a thing. It was the 90s after all. But his origin is pretty simple and pretty straightforward and pretty crazy. Venom got into a tussle with the Juggernaut, who knocked him into a vat of acid. So take the Joker, put it into Marvel, but make it Venom, and you got Venom the Madness. He crawled out of the tank with all these extra arms and heads, and he's much bigger and bulkier and meaner and tougher and all kinds of crazy things. So, yeah, pretty wild. But as far as the figure goes, I gotta give a special shout out to my good buddy Mr. Vampire for sending me this figure in a trade box many, many years ago. I believe it was the second trade box he sent me that had this guy in it. So this guy is super sentimental to me. And, you know, Vampire is also the #1 fan of my and that's clawful voices from Masters of the Universe. So shout out to him. But as far as this figure's accessories go, he does not come with really any for him per se, but he does come with a bit of an extra toy. And this is the thing with this entire line, which I hope to have a couple of these figures reviewed by the end of the year. I'm doing this one now because of all the hype surrounding the Venom 2 Max Carnage trailer. I believe it's called Maximum Carnage trailer. Maybe I'll get a little bit more traffic on this than I have been lately, which, again, we gotta show that algorithm who's boss. But these figures, this whole line, came with little kind of capsule toy type things. And they come in this little Venom head here, just like a translucent yellow. And what you do is you'd crack them open like a little plastic Easter egg, and inside you'd get a little sticky symbiote toy. Now this one, because I have messed with it a few times, it's not as sticky as it used to be, but essentially what you would do, so getting him out of the way, is you would throw this, and it would crawl down like a spider. Or an octopus in this case. Hopefully you guys saw that. You probably didn't. Let's try it again. Hopefully it's more on screen. You'll probably just see it fall down. Oh, is it stuck? I think it is. Yeah, it's stuck up here. That's funny. No. It is old after all. Well. I tried. It doesn't work as good as it could. We'll say that much. But a review set is also probably not the best thing to be chucking this thing at. Probably got all kinds of hair and dirt on it now. Dust. Probably. Most likely dust. But, yeah, cool little symbiote toys. They look like Venom's head with some slime coming out the bottom of them. And the head actually kind of looks like the chomping Venom from the Spider-Man animated series line. Bringing Venom the Madness back in here. The other thing that these guys had going for them is they all had these kind of weird whips and tendrils hanging off them. They got like little spikes on the end, which is funny because I usually associate that more so with Carnage than Venom. But he's got them too. And in this case, I call them licorice whips because they are red, not black, and they are sticking right out of his hand. Like this one is in the palm of his hand. Now, if you hit this with a little bit of heat, you'd probably just pull these right out, but I'm not going to do that. But these are separate pieces that were glued in, and then so are the arms. The arms are a rubber that's been glued in. This one actually came unglued, so I'll have to have my dad glue that back in, but nothing too hard. His tongue is also a separate piece that's been glued in. But as far as articulation on this guy goes, his head will rotate side to side. His arms will move up and down. Nothing in the elbow, nothing in the hands. He does have... Oh, he does not have the white squares on the backs of his hands. I thought he did. He does not have the white squares on the backs of his hands. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but interesting. And then he has a Y-jointed hip, which these are the most useless hip joints known to man, so you're not really going to get anything out of that. He does have peg holes at the bottom of his feet, but as you can see, he has no trouble standing whatsoever. A little bit of added articulation, though. No, not the arms. I wish they did rotate, though. Some of these heads on his shoulders and back do rotate around a bit. These two right here, I think that's it. Yes. These kind of wiggle about, but you can see on his back, he's got this big button. Press it, and his heads pop up. It's all booga 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 booga. Pretty silly, but it's the 90s. What are you going to do? I will say, the gimmick, while it is ridiculous, it's not as offensive as it could be. The button is on the back. This is a large figure, so it doesn't really affect the aesthetic too much, unless you look at it from the side. They were at least considerate enough to make the button white like the rest of his back, so, you know, there is that. But yeah, this is a cool little figure, man. A little big figure. And I hope Hasbro will make a Venom the Madness at some point, because, well, we got a lot of Venoms. Most of them aren't really good. But it would be nice to see them take a crack at this at some point in time. I mean, we're kind of running out of baths for Spidey waves at this point. When you're using a Daredevil villain like Stiltman to justify someone purchasing an entire wave of figures, you're kind of running out of options as far as I'm concerned. Especially when Stiltman could have just been a $20 figure. But with that being said, let's take a look at some comparisons. First up, here is our Venom the Madness from Toy Biz next to the Hasbro Marvel Legends. I believe this was a fan channel exclusive Monster Venom. This is, of course, a repaint of the Build-A-Figure in the Eddie Brock colors. The closest thing they've really done to a Venom the Madness figure. Yeah, I know he doesn't have all the extra heads and arms, but as far as like a base body or a buck for a character like Venom the Madness, I could totally see them taking this figure and going to town on it. Personally, looking at him, he does have the little tendrils up here that they could take out and replace with some arms, and then the back piece is completely removable, so they could totally give him a new back piece with all these heads on him, like on this guy, and maybe retool the shoulders and the lower arms to give him the extra arms that this guy has. Wishful thinking, I hope they do it eventually. I have a feeling they might do it as again, a fan channel release, or maybe even a Build-A-Figure for another Venom wave, because I'm not sure what else you could do as a Build-A-Figure for another Venom wave, because we already got the Venomized Deadpool, or the Venom pool, excuse me. I guess maybe a Venomized Hulk, but they could just take the Hulk figure they already got and do some Venom stuff to it. I don't know. It's wishful thinking that they'll do some more cool Venom stuff in the future, but I haven't seen any yet. We are getting that pretty sweet looking retro Fantastic Four wave though, so I guess there is that. Lastly, here he is next to our two regulars. We got the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus and the Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn. So with that being said, time to wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and if you haven't guessed it by now, I love this figure. Yeah, it's not the most articulated thing in the world, and I think it would have been nice if the little arms at least were articulated on top of maybe some elbow joints just to get a little bit more posing out of this guy. Because some of the other figures in this line do have, to my understanding, a decent amount of articulation. I believe Lasher and Hybrid have elbow and knee joints. But that's neither here nor there. I like this more so as a very awesome just presence on the shelf. It's a big, chunky Venom figure with arms and heads sticking out of them everywhere, with licorice whips. I mean, if you're getting it for that reason, you're going to be 100% satisfied with this figure. It came out in like 97, 98, so you're going to have to let the articulation thing slide, because this is pre-Marvel Legends Toy Biz. This is before they started adding joints here, there, and everywhere. Had they put a bunch of articulation in this guy, it would have been cool, but it would have been more stuff to get loose over time, and you know how I feel about that. That said, there are some options as far as colors on this guy. There is a green one. There is a pea colored one. Like, it's translucent yellow. It just looks like whiz to me. It's gross. But I believe that was released in Spider-Man Classics, though. But the green version was the one released in Planet of the Symbiotes, which they did have variants for literally every figure but Scream, to my understanding. Which is kind of weird, because Scream you could have just painted purple and called it Agony. And it would have been another one that people would have bought to add to their collections. But that said, I'm probably not going to pick up any of those variants unless I find them super cheap, at a toy show or something like that. Because, well, the aftermarket prices on this line are a bit at this point. This guy carded, if you want to just buy him straight up, shipped to the door, is probably going to run you anywhere between $40 to $60. So I am very, very grateful that my good buddy Vampire was able to part with him and send him my way. So, once again, special thanks to Vampire, and with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. I'm going to be doing a little bit more Throwback Thursday stuff, I think, in the future. I'm not too sure on it yet. I know NECA's going to be revealing more Gargoyle stuff, so when they do that, I'm probably going to bust out some of my old Kenner figures, do some videos on those. I do have more Planet of the Symbiotes figures to look at, as well as another Ghost Rider, Vengeance, with his glow-in-the-dark Hell Cycle. So we'll see how that goes. But remember, we need to show that algorithm who's boss, right? And if you haven't already, hit me up on Instagram at Overlord Productions. And don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this figure, if you like it, want it, or hate it. I feel like this is a 50-50 thing. Most people just like the tried and true Eddie Brock Venom. Me, personally, I like it when they kind of pump it full of steroids and make him look more and more monstrous. Again, I really hope we get to see a Venom the Madness in the Marvel Legends line from Hasbro. I don't think it would cost them too much, but they do need their Christmas bonuses, don't they? But as always, keep the comments civil. This world sucks enough as it is. And until next time, I will catch you guys later.